In the EOT classroom, the actions we take often determine if our students actually learn or just, listen and think about other things. But what teaching strategies and resources should we choose? From the traditional drills to AI, how do our methods, techniques and resources actually stack up in 2026? I'm Rubens Heredia, one of your Pavilion EOT vloggers, and we're always looking for ways to make our lessons more effective and engaging, right? Today, I'm ranking common EOT teaching methodologies, techniques, and tools into my own personal tier list. Do you want to know which methods deserve the top spot and which are not really my thing? So come with me. Before we start, I just wanted to clarify what I mean by method, approach, or technique. There are formal and academic distinctions among these terms, where approach refers to a collection of beliefs about teaching, method is the practical application of these beliefs, and techniques are the actions and activities that we use within different methods. I know, it can get a bit confusing, especially because in everyday conversation, the words method, methodology, approach, and technique are almost used interchangeably and not in the academic sense. So to make our lives easier, I'm including a little bit of everything in my list, so we don't need to worry about that. However, if you do want to learn more about these differences, there's a very interesting article by Andrew Boone and Chiyuki Yanase in the latest issue of Modern English Teacher that not only provides clear definitions, but also investigates what different teachers understand by methodology. Make sure you check it out. According to them, in the end, what matters most is not the labels we give our methods, but the quality of what happens when teachers and learners come together in the classroom. Once the door is closed and the bell sounds to signal the start of the lesson, this is where the real work and the real magic of teaching begins. There are 4 tiers in my tier list. The first one, do I need to, is where I include the things that are not exactly my cup of tea. Mind you, I don't believe that there is right or wrong in teaching, so I'm not really saying that it's wrong to do it, okay? The next tier is sure, and it refers to methodologies that are sound and solid, probably a part of most of my lessons and lessons I observe. The second tier from the top to bottom, I decided to call that's cool, and I'm going to include here things that are very good choices for teachers because they usually increase effectiveness or student-centeredness of the lessons. And finally, my top tier will be called wow. And here are the things that I think we should all be trying to do. So let's get started. The first item on my list is pre-teaching vocabulary. If you've taken the CELTA or any TESOL course, you probably came across pre-teaching vocabulary, which is the idea that before students read a text, we select words that could be problematic for them and teach those words so they can do the task more effectively. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it's established practice and you will find it in most coursebooks even. However, personally, I think that it doesn't really mimic the real life the way that I want my classroom activities to do. Because, when you're operating in real life or dealing with authentic conversations, people don't usually say things like, we need to talk, but before we talk, here are a few words you need to know. But then again, it's established practice and lots of people use it, so go for it. I would probably include it in our do I need to tier. The next item is student-generated tasks. Oh, that's actually a very good one. By student-generated tasks or content, I mean asking students to actually decide what they will read, what questions they will answer, what words they will learn, etc. Okay, let's think of an example. Imagine this situation. You show the students the headlines of a new website. First, you ask them to decide which article they'll read. Then, you ask them to create the questions that they think the article should answer. And only then do they read the text to check if the questions that they asked were answered. See what I'm doing there? By asking students to create the questions first, I'm giving them a sense of agency. So this is not just another reading exercise from the book. Marjorie Rosenberg wrote an interesting article for Modern English Teacher in which she described some activities with learner-generated content. According to her, giving my learners space to provide content has a number of advantages. It helps learners to stay engaged and provide motivation. Learner-generated content is generally more memorable for those who took part and contributed to the discussion or writing task. So I'm going to put this in the wow category because I think it is very student-centered, allows for lots of personalization, and requires very little preparation time actually. Our next item is using games. I'm going to add this to the sure category. Yeah, games can be fun and motivating to students, and they provide reasons for students to manipulate and use the language in the classroom. This is why it's very common practice in English classrooms all around the world, regardless of students' level and age group. One caveat here is that we sometimes overuse games, trying to gamify activities that don't really benefit from that moment. And also, the use of games that get students to compete against each other with limited time tend to heavily favor stronger students and may really demotivate the students who, struggle a little bit more or who are not that fast. But if the games do serve a purpose in the classroom and there's a clear reason for you to do it, go ahead, I support you. The next item on my list is using artificial intelligence tools to prepare lessons. 3 years ago, I made a video named 5 Ways to Use Artificial Intelligence, and I started by saying that it might sound a bit far-fetched. Today, I'm sure many of you already use artificial intelligence in some way or another when preparing your lessons. Indeed, AI is everywhere nowadays, but I still feel that it can be a great tool to help you. Mind you, I feel that asking AI to create full lesson plans doesn't usually lead to very effective lessons, but AI tools are very helpful if they 1. Reduce the lesson preparation time without compromising the quality of the lesson, and 2. Help make lessons more personalized. With those 2 things in mind, I'm going to put AI in the cool tier. Our next item is vocabulary lists. I'm going to put this one in the do I need to tier, and let me tell you why. Although I feel that there is some value in helping your students record what they learn and organize the new words in the notebook somehow, I'm not really sure a long list of isolated words are very helpful. Vocabulary lists usually lack contextual clues, collocations, or information on how to use the word in a sentence. After some time, we run the risk of looking at a list and not even remembering what the words are. My suggestion here would be to encourage students to record the new words in a contextualized way, including, for example, personalized models, sentences, and information on how to use the words. Our next item is using drills. I'm going to put this in the sure tier together with the games because I think, just like games, drills can be very helpful, but they are often misused or used in a way that does not really fulfill its potential. Repetitive and decontextualized drills can be really boring and mechanical, and students might end up just, repeating for the sake of repeating. Substitution drills are a little bit more challenging, but I'd say that the best drills are those that allow students to personalize the sentences somehow. Our next methodology is TBL, or task-based learning. If we go back to our discussion, most people would classify it as an approach because it is a system of beliefs about how languages learn, not a rigid method. So it can appear in many different forms in the classroom. I'm going to cheat and also add PBL, or project-based learning, here because they do share similarities. They both start from the belief that learners learn best by using the language to perform or achieve a real-life task or to create a real-life project. As examples, a task or project with a group of teenagers could be to create a TikTok video, and with adults you can ask them to create a welcome pack with information for people that join their team at work, for example. Typically, a TBL lesson is self-contained and a project spans a number of lessons. I'm going to put them in the wow category because I feel that regardless of the age of the students, they all seem to appreciate having a more tangible and concrete outcome in their lessons. In an article from Modern English Teacher, Martin Baskovsky shared the great idea to make TBL even more effective in the classroom, using activity boards to provide visual structure and help students manage more complex tasks or projects. According to him, just because a task is open-ended does not mean it isn't structured. In fact, the more open a task is, the clearer the process must be. Breaking a task down into clear, visible steps enables learners to focus on one aspect at a time, monitor their progress, and experience a sense of accomplishment along the way. So there you have it. This is my methodology and tools tier list. Would you rank any of the items differently? And is there anything that you think should be in the wow tier? Sound off in the comments below. And you can also reach out to me on all social media at whatisELT. Keep learning and keep teaching.